Yes, happy Saturday. So my name is Quadia Muhammad. I am the program director of the Delaware Financial Literacy Institute. We offer over 600 free classes on a variety of subjects, ranging from debt reduction, how to purchase a home, investor fraud. We actually have a money school instructor in the audience with us today, Lisa Spellman. Identity theft. We offer some soft skill classes like social media classes, couponing. So again, this is a resource that we have access to that is absolutely free that unfortunately a lot of us do not know about. So I did ask the Lord what my message should be today, and I'm going to be upfront and honest with you. I did not grow up in a household where my family was financially savvy, and as a result, I suffered. It's funny because last week I was talking to my mom, and about 20 years ago I was 50, no, actually more than that. Wow, time does fly. I was about 9 or 10, and my mom won $10,000 in the lottery, and in short, we didn't. She didn't invest it. She didn't purchase a home. She didn't save it. And I said, that could have been used to fund my college education. And she said, Quadia, had I known better, I would have done better. But at that time, she did not know better. However, life has changed for us, but we still struggle. So I just thought that was very interesting because I think sometimes as people of color, when I went to school, I was always dressed in the sharpest clothes. We went out to eat, we went to the movies, we had, Saturday play dates. What I didn't realize is that some of my classmates who were wearing raggedy shoes, or, holes may have been in their, at the knees or at the elbows, but they were living in $200,000 homes. And when they graduated, they did not have to worry about who was going to pay for college because their parents had already planned for them. The Bible says that a man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And that's really the mindset that we have to start to get into. And I know it is difficult because I think for me, and looking at my community, I do see it. We have been disempowered to think about our money. We are the victim. We use words like, I'm poor, I'm broke, living paycheck to paycheck. And my phone saver is, you can change your life by changing the words and the story about yourself. So instead of saying I'm broke, I have changed that to I'm temporarily out of cash, like the ATM says. I know who I work for, and I work for God Almighty, whatever you may choose to call him or her, and I know my abundance is coming. So I no longer say that I'm broke. I no longer say I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I'm instead turning that into, I need to learn to plan better so that I know what's coming in and what's going out. So what the Lord did put on me today is to come up with the acronym in honor of the women in here today is SISTERS, SISTERS. So the first one, the S is for save early, save often. There's a powerful story about a woman, Osceola McCarty, I don't want to misrepresent her in any way, and she is one of our ancestors. She has since passed on, and she was born in 1908. All of us know, as difficult as times may be for us now, we do not have to deal with the struggle and tragedies that Miss Osceola had to deal with. She had to leave school in the 6th grade due to conditions in her life to take care of her grandmother and aunt who were raising her. She became a laundress. She, at the most, may have been paid $2.50 to wash a load of clothes. However, Ms. McCarty took pride in her work. Over the course of her lifetime, and she worked for 8 decades, she was able to amass $150,000. And again, we were talking about a woman who was paid $250 a load of clothes. So she had to wash many loads in order to, yes, $2.50. She had to wash many loads of clothes in order to amass $150,000. And what Ms. McCarty did was she established a fund at the University of Southern Mississippi so that those children who were worthy but needy were able to go to school. So sometimes when I ask myself, you know, if I'm in the line at Wawa or in the line at Walmart, you know, I have to start to determine what my needs are and what my wants are, so I can get rid of those wants so I can start to save more and save often. A benchmark that most people say is to save 10% of your paycheck. I know sometimes that is difficult, but the truth of the matter is, in America, in order to beat the capitalistic system, you have to be a better capitalist. And in order to be a better capitalist, you have to learn to take care of yourself, take care of your temple, take care of your household. So 10% at a minimum is what you should be saving. If we are unable to do that from onset, you should at least be saving $25 to $50 a month and then building up to that 10%. The I is for interest. Compound interest, that is something that I'm sure is spoken about quite frequently in wealthier circles. Basically, compound interest is getting rich slowly. It is very, very important because by saving early and by saving often, you are able to amass a larger amount of money over the course of your lifetime. For instance, if a 20-year-old were to save $2,500 a year at an interest rate of 6%, and only save for 15 years, keeping that money in the bank, if someone were then to start after her, or him, same scenario, $2,500 a year, 6% return rate, and save for 30 years, from 35 to 65. The person who started at 20, however, only saved for 15 years, over the course of that 45-year time span would have more money. Again, that goes back to how we create generational wealth for our families and for our communities. The second S in sisters is for sacrifice. My grandmother always tells me, Dia, the greater the sacrifice, the greater the reward. And I see that coming to fruition in my own life. I will admit, at one point, I liked to party. I could party Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. However, when Monday came, I would wonder where my money went. My money was going out, you know, going to clubs, getting sharp to go into the clubs, eating, getting here, getting there. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. You know, I'm human, you know, down to earth and fault. And when I looked at where my money was, made a conscientious decision to change that, I started volunteering at Roseville Community Center. I started reading more. I started being more cognizant of how I spent my time. I really saw that those sacrifices were paying off in my bank account. I like to call them leaks, and everybody has them, whether for me it's partying, whether it's shopping, whether it's eating out. I mean, we are living in a society now where there's a McDonald's, Burger King, some type of Chinese store, some type of fast food restaurant on every corner, and it proves that even $1 can make McDonald's millionaires because look at their dollar menu. So I mean, the result is there. Again, it's about us becoming more conscientious about what we do with our money. The T is for time. Time is more valuable to me than money. However, if I know know where a person spends their time. I know where a person spends their money. It goes back to me in my partying days. When I party, that's where I was spending my money. Now that I'm doing something that is more fruitful to me, and again, my family and my community, the payoff has been exponential. The E is for exercise. I think first and foremost, and I'm not going to quote any statistics, but I think sometimes when we look at ourselves as a community, we not only need to exercise our minds, we also need to exercise our physical bodies, because it truly is your health is your wealth. You can have $1 million in the bank, however, if you suffer from diabetes, hypertension, heart attack, you've had a stroke, I'm not saying that that money can't be used for positive gain, but it is difficult. So we need, as a community, we definitely have to start exercising our bodies. I did look up the definition of exercise, and let's see, I have it here, one moment. To strengthen basically to strengthen further, we're going to move right along. I think we all know what I mean. Also exercising your mind, developing a budget, getting your credit report full, it's called free annual credit report. You can get all 3 credit bureaus pulled absolutely free on an annual basis. I know it is hard to do at times, again, if you did not grow up in an environment that may have been financially savvy. However, we have to start somewhere. There are plenty of resources available. The Money School is just one. You have Stand By Me. You have the YWCA, which Sister Olakunle used to be a part of. I mean, there are just myriad resources that are available almost for free. Again, now I'm working with youth over at Rose Hill Community Center, and they have made me a better woman, and I appreciate that. But one thing I tell them is excuses only satisfy those who make them. So if I told them that, I too had to step in those same footsteps and say, okay, Quadia, it is not okay for creditors to be calling your job. Okay, Quadia, it is not okay to not know what your credit score is immediately. Again, if you travel in some circles, you ask the person what their credit score is, and they can tell you. By a show of hands, how many people know what their credit score is? Okay, that's what I'm talking about. That is good. And then I would say also go out and be a teacher and teach other people that may not be as financially savvy as you to do the same, especially our young people. It is very, very important that when we give them $1, we teach them to, not automatically think they have to go to the corner store in order to give their money back. It's similar to what Sister Olakunle said about, our money doesn't necessarily stay in our communities, and I think that's because we just have not learned to harness the power of collective economics. Again, it's like my mother said to me, Quadia, once I knew better, I did better. So we are now on to SIST. E was exercise. The last R is retirement. I don't know what many of you envision your retirement to be. But if we see older people, when we go to Walmart and different supermarkets, it is highly unlikely that they are there because they want to be, for whatever reason, they have to work at 60, 70, 80 years old. So if you are 35, 40, 45, we have to start to plan for when we retire and what that will look like. Statistics show that women have greater life expectancies, they outlive their spouses. Social Security is purely based on how much money you've amassed while you've been working. So again, although it may seem like it's 30, 40, 50 years down the line, time is moving. That is really the only constant that we have. So we have to start to prepare for our retirement. I always like to say that, if you have a health issue, you go to a doctor. If you have a tooth issue, you go to a dentist. If you were in a financial crisis, reach out and speak to a financial advisor. It's just that simple. And even if you cannot afford a financial advisor at this point of your life, everybody in their circle has someone that they know is savvy, knows how to save money, knows how to budget, knows how to save. And I am 110% positive that they would be more than willing to share that information with you for free. So sometimes it's just about us asking. And the last S is for start now. Again, going back to excuses only satisfy those who make them. Do one. There's a great book that I found, Zero Debt by Lynette Calvin-Cobb. She's an African-American woman out of New Jersey. And she has a 30-day plan, just small things that you can do on a daily basis in order to improve your finances. So again, whether it is pulling your credit report, that is a big one because with poor credit, it actually ends up costing you more money. When you go out for a car loan, when you go for a house loan, jobs now are pulling your credit. So I always say that, get your credit in order first because that will highly influence how the rest of your money goes. So whether it's pulling your credit, whether it's saving, whether it's developing a budget, do something today in order to take charge of your financial future. I have some money school brochures in my purse as well as some ink pens. I will leave them at the table here. Again, the organization that I'm with is DFLI, Delaware Financial Literacy Institute.org. The majority of our classes are held at the libraries. However, if you have an organization that would benefit from an instructor, we can also coordinate that absolutely for free. So there's just plenty of resources and information out there, and I just want to ensure, as I'm sure all of you, that our little people and future generations are in better situations that perhaps we are in currently, and in order to do that, we have to take charge and start now.